Work hard. What kind of Monday motivation is that? Work hard. Yeah, that's the kind of thing your parent tells you, right? When you're growing up. I remember being told, Billy, by the time I get home from work today, I want that yard mowed and I want the weeds pulled from. We pulled weeds because the weed whacker had not been invented yet. So when I think about working hard, those are the kind of things I think about. But today, I want to talk about a different spin for those of us who are creators, the creative types. We have a different mindset. So that's what we're going to talk about on this Motivational Monday. Welcome. My name is Bill DeWeese. I am a professional voiceover talent, voice actor. This is what I have done for a living for the past 18 years. I'm also a voiceover coach and author. My latest book is Get Paid Using Your Voice, Get Found, Get Heard, and Get Hired. A lot of you guys have been picking this up lately, and thanks for all of I so appreciate the kind and positive remarks. And I'm so glad you're finding it helpful because this book was written to be, if you're going to go on a trip, the first thing you got to do is chart out your path. That's what this book is meant to be. This is the 30,000-foot view. This is the steps that you take to get where you're going to go. And if you're interested, the digital download is less than $10, and it's below in the description. So what's going on? Did you have a good weekend? I hope you did. We had a wonderful weekend. It was filled, as it usually is, with grandkids sports. It was great. My oldest grandson played football on Saturday, and then my granddaughter had a soccer tournament game later that day, and then my grandson, same grandson who plays football, had a soccer tournament yesterday, 2 games. So it was a busy weekend, but busy with all kinds of fun stuff. Love it, love it, and I see we have a freshly minted grandparent on the live stream, which we'll congratulate here shortly. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let's talk about Motivational Monday. Today, I've got a quote for you from the late great United States President Theodore Roosevelt, who once said, "Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." Far and away, the best prize, the very top, the ultimate that can happen that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. We all know people who work hard. I think back, I remember my parents working hard. Did they consider it work worth doing? I think they did in the sense that it provided for their family. Was it like their ultimate choice of something they wanted to do? No, no. And I think that's the same probably, for most of us, the generation our parents came from, you did work out of obligation, which is not a bad thing. You've got to support your family. But the choices didn't exist that exist today. We live in a completely different world. And for those, which is nice for those of us who are creators, we have the creative spark, the creative gene, the creative personality, because those of us like that don't mind working hard as long as we're doing something that we feel is worth doing. As a matter of fact, I would go so far to saying, correct me if I'm wrong in the live chat. And by the way, if you're not in the live chat, make sure you jump in and share your where you're watching or listening from this morning. I would go so far as to say the most of us work more for the sheer joy of what we're doing than for the money of what we're doing. And if I mean, again, maybe that's not where you come from. That's certainly where I have come from. I think I've shared the story before. I'm going to share it again because this will give you an idea. And I think many of you can relate to this. From the time I was like, I don't know, it was like 12, 13, 14, I developed had this passion. I loved music and I loved the radio. And I spent, when most people are watching TV, I love to listen to the radio. And I can tell you every song on the radio, especially like top 40, I could tell you who sung it. I could tell you what chart position it was on any given week. I listened to Casey Kasem Top 40. I read the liner notes of every record I ever purchased. I mean, I was completely into it. And all I dreamt of was working behind a microphone when I was old enough to do so. Um, I mean, that was my passion. That was my passion. And when Vicky and I started dating, and we were, well, I think maybe 19 when we first started, 18 or 19 when we first started dating. I met her in college, and she knew that's where I was coming from. And she had been raised in a very similar family to me, hard work ethic, and you do the thing you need to do and you get it done because you need to take care of your family. Again, which is a really good thing. Both of us very thankful for that work ethic. Um, but when we got married, my junior year of college, we were 20 years old when we got married. We were kids. We were so young. And of course, I went out searching for work, and I found my first job. at a radio station. We were in the Columbus, Ohio area. And I went in and they hired me on the spot. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe they hired me. And for mornings on top of that. Couldn't believe it. I was so thrilled. And at the time we lived like an hour and a half away from there. We were a little further north. And I drove back home and I was so excited to tell Vicky. I said, Vicky, you're never going to believe it. I got the job. I got the job. Now, Vicky, if you know Vicky, you would know this would be the first question she would ask. And her first question was, so how much do you make? My response, I have no idea, but I got the job. I was so excited. So that gives you an idea what we've been dealing with as a couple for the past, 44 years now. Those of us who are creatives are wired to do the work. We do the work not out of obligation, not out of a sense of duty, although, I mean, that might be part of it, but we do it because we love what we do. Voiceover is one of those things. When you get to do it, it's amazing. It is. I love to record voiceovers. I mean, I could sit in my booth. I mean, I did some work this weekend. I just, if somebody gives me a script, I love to go in the booth and I love to work. Now, life necessitates that I be paid for that work. And what is great is I'm unusual from many, and maybe that I also have a background in business, and not only a business, degree and an MBA, but I taught at a graduate level in marketing, and I worked for a marketing firm here in the Chicago area, a consulting firm, and so I have that mix of a background. So I've been able to learn how to actually monetize the things that I do, which is awesome. And I think most people who are into voiceover, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but would love to be able to make enough money to do it full time. It's not necessarily to make you rich. Certainly you want to take care of your obligations, but you want to do the work. It is, and I just want to motivate you with the idea. I just want to keep this in front of you that the work that we do is worth doing. And I don't think I need to convince you of that. And it is hard work, but it is satisfying work. And if you can learn how to make a living while you're doing it, that is the very best possible formula in combination. And that's why this channel exists. That's why I make these videos. That's why I show up in the morning. That's why I've written books on the topic. That's why I've created my training program, the Voiceover Blueprint, which you can find out more about in the description below. That's why I do it. So folks like us who love this work don't have to do another job during the day, waiting to get to do what we want to do at night, or not being able to have the time to do what we want to do because we're so busy trying to make a living. And we do what we've got to do. But when you can do it recording voiceovers, which you can, and many who are on the live stream this morning can speak to that from personal experience, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's work worth doing. And when you're working hard at work that's worth doing, there is no better feeling in the world. And I'm so glad that most of you, maybe all of you, really have a deep understanding of that. If you haven't checked in on the live chat this morning, make sure that you do that. I'd like to go through. If you're new at this, I know this may seem cheesy or corny, but I like to personally acknowledge everybody who shows up on the live stream. Thanks for taking the time to be here. And I think it's, we're building a community of people who encourage each other, who lift each other up, who share, information to help other people, not to frustrate, not to keep other people from being successful. But we believe that there's plenty for everybody. That success means that it's not taking from somebody else. We're expanding the universe. The voiceover universe is expanding. It's not contracting, it's expanding. There are more opportunities than ever. And I want to make sure that you take advantage of those opportunities. Rob, what's going on? Happy Monday to you. Rob, as you would guess, is already in the booth producing a commercial. Oh, I thought you were going to say an audiobook, a commercial. Awesome, Rob. Hope you have a great productive day. Thank you, Rob. Hope you do as well. Rusty, good morning to you in the UP of Michigan. Phil in Tokyo says, hit the like button. Happy Motivational Monday. It's going to be a good week. Yes, indeed, Phil. I think it's going to be a good week as well. And by the way, I appreciate the likes. And when you like the videos, and again, I'm not asking you to like videos that you don't like. If you do, give it a thumbs up, because YouTube then, in turn, makes sure they share the video with more people who are looking for this kind of content. That's what that's all about. Did I mention Joe in the UK? Joe, good to have you here. Joe, you've become quite the regular. I love it. John in Denver, always good to see you. Oh my gosh. It is time to pull out the voiceover bell of success. It's not voiceover related at all, but I'm going to ring this for Becky in Michigan because Becky says Grandma Becky checking in from Michigan. You know what that means? She is now officially a grandmother. She was anticipating that. And if I'm not mistaken, Becky, I think you said it's a granddaughter. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. But apparently the event happened, and that's amazing. It's exciting. It's a whole new thing. This weekend, I saw something pop up in my Facebook feed showing my two grandsons 10 years ago, and they were like 2 and 4. And today they're 12 and 14. It's just like kids. Time flies. It flies. I hope you suck the juice out of every moment with that grandchild, Becky. That is fantastic. Congrats to you guys. Celeste, how are you doing in Newark, Delaware? Ethan in sunny Ontario, Nephi in Knoxville. Terry, good morning to you in Falston, Maryland. GS in Longview, Washington. Scotty, hashtag doing the work. Yes, indeed. Happy Monday from Brookings, South Dakota. Jason in Kearney, Nebraska. Hey, John in Rhinebeck. JR, good morning to you in sunny Austin, Texas. Happy Motivational Monday. Robert, hello to you in Indianapolis. Alex in rainy Westlake, Ohio. David in Hamilton, Ontario. Mandy in Chester Springs, Pennsylvania. Hey, Ralph, what's happening from Fresno, California? Excited about what you have to share this Monday morning. Thank you so much, Ralph. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Motivational Monday from Altoona. Sirius in Charlotte. Amisha in South Carolina. Denise in Long Island. Marla in Texas. Melissa in San Diego. Hey, Dory, what's going on in Maryland with a renewed commitment? Dory, I love to hear that. I met Dory for the first time. Gosh, Dory, how long ago was that? A dozen years ago in New York City. I did an event in New York City. Good times. That was a long time ago. We've got, let's see, the Netherlands checking in. Fantastic. Jim in Memphis. We've got the other Jim in Graybill, Indiana. And then there's Corey in Whitehall, Wisconsin. Sandra in Dallas, Fort Worth. Wayne in Port Orchard, Washington. Jolie says, how do you do that, Rob Ryder? Hi, Bill and all. Beautiful here in Montrose, Minnesota. VoiceOver Blueprint member here. Jolie, love you. Love all my Blueprint members. So glad you're here. Hope you had a great weekend. Hey, Joy, hello to you in sunny Southfield, Michigan. Jim says, absolutely. VO hasn't made me a penny yet, but I plug on. Jim, when you're doing the right things consistently, executed long enough, good things and the right things will happen. Alex is motivated in Utah this fine, crisp morning. Scott, happy Thanksgiving from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. Is today the official Canadian Thanksgiving? If it is, happy Thanksgiving, my Canadian friends. And I think any day is appropriate to celebrate as Thanksgiving, right? I mean, that should always be the attitude. I love that, Scott. Christine, hello from Celebration, Florida. Sandra, good morning. Jim says, Casey Kasem had an exceptionally listenable voice. He did. And even more than that, I love the things he talked about, the stories he would share about the songs, about the songwriters, about the artists. I absorbed, I memorized all that stuff. I mean, I know. I was such a geek, such a total music nerd. Kathleen says, good morning, Bill. Life is good in Binghamton, North Carolina. Love to hear that, Kathleen. Hey, Ben, good afternoon to you in the UK. Jim says, were you in Gambier or Mount Vernon? I was in Mount Vernon, not very far from Kenyon in Gambier. Riley says, happy Motivational Monday morning from Texas. I just got done narrating my first paid project, going to start auditioning for more. Fantastic, Riley. Just got your first paid project. That is when we ring the voiceover bell of success. Congrats, Riley. Dr. Bob, good morning to you in sunny Clearwater, Florida. Survival of 2 hurricanes in 3 days, no electricity. Glad to be able to listen to you again after a few weeks. Keep up the great helping us, Bill. Dr. Bob, glad you're doing okay. Our prayers and thoughts going out your way and for all of those who have been affected by this crazy, crazy weather recently. Adam, good morning to you in Bristol, Tennessee. Denise, boom. Powerful message this morning, Bill. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Hey, David, good morning from Gardner, Kansas. The Bucks will return. Oh, you had to bring that up. Yeah, it was sad to see Ohio State lose. What a close game, but crazy. It's funny because to be successful in college football, it's like you almost need to be undefeated. You occasionally can sneak in to the playoffs with 1 loss, but that's it. And even then, it's shaky at that point. It's a loss is tough. It's tough. John says, I got my first job on my own. age 12, $10 a day as a runner with CBS Sports at the U.S. Open and also 7 other networks. John, you've had quite an outstanding career, if I remember. I think you listed some of those things you were doing. That's amazing. And there, I mean, way to hustle. Age 12, you go out and you get paid $10 a day as a runner for CBS Sports at the U.S. Open. You know, that's amazing. I love that. I so love that. Marie says, I'm from South Africa, busy setting up space before I buy my equipment. I need a second income, so I'm glad I found you. Well, Marie, I'm glad you found us too. Welcome. So glad to have you here at the Morning Huddle. Good morning from John in Atlanta. Dory says, loved your life course. Life change. Wow, life changing. Well, Dory, in that case, I'm really glad you were there as well. I was operating on fumes that weekend. That was the weekend the computers went down in Chicago, and for the computers for the airports, and all flights were canceled. I think it's the only time that I know that it's ever happened. And Mallory and I jumped in a car and drove nonstop overnight from Chicago to New York City in time to make it for the event to start that morning. But you know what? I will never forget it, and I'll never forget you guys. So it was a great weekend. Thank you. Professor Tracy says, good morning from Rochester, Minnesota. Well, guys, work hard at doing work that's worth doing. And I think we can all agree voiceover is certainly worth doing. And if you need help in that way, if you look below in the description, there are resources to my training, all created for the purpose of helping you, supporting you in your journey to be successful in voiceover. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon.